So this first piece, I wrote 2 poems, and this first piece is called To My Mother and Father. I would like to start off by saying that I love you. I love you the same way you raised me to love my siblings. I love you from here to China and back, as I would always tell you when I was 5 years old. I love you more than a person can believe is possible, and simply put, I love you because you love me. I also want to thank you, Dad. Thank you for teaching me to work hard. Thank you for always making my after-school activities when you could. Thank you for telling me to get involved in whatever I wanted and never worry about money because you'd find a way to get it somehow. Thank you for always pushing me into greatness. Thank you for expecting nothing but greatness. Thank you for always making me laugh. Thank you for always making sure we had a place to call home. Thank you for never letting us grow hungry, even if all we ate was a plato con frijoles, and if then we were lucky, a little bit of queso. Thank you for leaving your wife, and your 3-year-old daughter Ruth in Mexico in your 20s to cross the border and find a new life for your future family. Thank you for paying the coyote so my mom and sister could follow you. Thank you for giving up alcohol and smoking in your 30s so you could live and have 3 more sons named George, Rudy, and me. Thank you for never taking days off even when you could so you could make a little more money and your kids could have a few more toys, like buy the GameCube even though the Wii had already come out. Thank you for taking us to the park every other day even when you could, even when you came home from work tired and hungry. Thank you for working the day shift while my mom worked the night shift so someone was always taking care of us. Thank you, Dad, for driving me to the hospital every time I had an asthma attack. Thank you for telling me to keep talking to you as you drove 80 on a 45 as I would slowly close my eyes and take my last few breaths as you rushed to the hospital for me. Thank you for showing up to my high school graduation dressed fly as heck even though you still worked that morning. Thank you for always inviting me to work with you in garage projects so I could learn a thing or two. Thank you for yelling at me when I almost got suspended from school and made sure I never got in trouble again. Thank you for teaching me to laugh and away any strays that came my way, and thank you for always believing I was a superstar. To my mom, thank you for always being less strict than Dad. Thank you for sneaking me back in the house when I showed up late from hanging out with friends and my dad would lock me out. Thank you for always smiling and when I got out of my room in the morning. Thank you for making the best pozole my mouth has ever tasted. Thank you for deciding to name me Angel. Thank you for telling me how respected my grandfather was when he was still alive. So whenever someone doesn't recognize me, I'll exclaim, "No sabes quién soy? Soy Angel Davila, nieto de José Jiménez." Thank you for those endless nights full of old family chisme. Thank you for always being able to make me laugh. Thank you for not crying when you dropped me off in college until you got in the car and drove away so I wouldn't see you because you knew I would start crying too. Thank you for always being worried for me and making sure I had everything I needed for the day. Thank you for always driving me to practices and picking me up 3 hours later. Thank you for always holding the family down. Thank you for teaching me it's okay to cry without even knowing it. Thank you for supporting my very inappropriate jokes. Thank you for defending me from my older siblings porque soy tu bebé y siempre lo voy a ser. Thank you for staying with my father even when he was a drunk and would take days to come home, for if you had left, I would never have been born. Thank you for pushing me out like a champ even though the epidural hadn't kicked in quite yet. Thank you for letting me cry in your arms for hours when I showed up at home heartbroken at 2 a.m. Thank you for always having the right words to say when I was at my lowest. Thank you for never letting me look down. Thank you for loving me with all your heart and being willing to sacrifice it all, even if it meant as long as I lived happily. Thank you for being my #1 fan, and most importantly to my mother and father. Thank you for making me so damn proud to call you Mom and Dad. Thank you. This next piece is called My Name. Many people seek happiness in the wrong locations, making big moves, looking for final destinations, driving endless roads while blasting the radio station, singing to your heart's content creation, but yet you seem to have forgotten your foundation. Never forget where you're from. Our Aztec ancestors settled in Aztlan, creating bonds to last centuries and cultures to last eternities. Never forget where you're from. I come from Marcos y Margarita Davila. I come from the mineral-rich sands of Zacatecas, Mexico. My name is Angel Davila. Never be ashamed of where you're from. How do you say your name? How do you prefer to be called? Is it okay if I say Angel? See, Angel is a little too complicated. It sounds exotic though. Is that Mexican? Well, actually, no. It's derived from the late Latin word angelus, meaning messenger, so please take a seat so I can deliver. My mother and father did not risk their lives coming to this country to name me Angel, only for you to be too lazy to even try to say it right. Sadly, I've grown used to Angel to the point where if someone calls me Angel, I only imagine my mom yelling at me, Angel, ¿dónde te fuiste, carajo? Aquí no hay servienta para limpiar tus trastes. Never be ashamed of where you're from. Most of us grew up hearing that this country is a melting pot, mixed with people from Argentina, Brazil, Chile, El Salvador, Guatemala, Venezuela, Mexico, you name it, all mixed together to create one country, except we aren't a melting pot, for that would assume assimilation. We are one country, but we are not one people. We are not a melting pot. We are a mosaic, a garden of various traditions and rituals, each of us spreading our culture, never forgetting who we are, never being ashamed of who we are, because this is what makes us great. It isn't our economy, it isn't our industrialization, it is our freedom of diversity to be here as who we are, and we all deserve to live happily, to live freely, to never live with the fear that maybe it's immigration at the door, or the fear that a small-handed rich white man runs this country because he doesn't. To this day, many of us chant that he is not our president. And I see where you come from. What a horrible man to believe he is a god when I only have one. But listen as I tell you why we may have needed him. There was one good thing that he has done for all of us, and that is that he opened our eyes. For years, we thought we were winning civil battles, the legalization of gay marriage, women getting paid a little more, and little things here and there. But tell me, how many friends did you lose after the election? How many people blocked you, and how many people did you block? With his win, he lost because we saw how bad we still were. We woke up to see that racism is as prevalent as ever. Hatred was dominating love under our mask, and we finally noticed once he won. After his election, we united more than ever. Millions of people marched day after day. Nonviolent protests have become the norm, and we are fighting for what we thought we already had. Many of us may not have noticed, but he lost when he won. We are here, and we're not ashamed of who we are. I come from Marcos y Margarita Davila. I come from the mineral-rich sands of Zacatecas, Mexico. My name is Angel Davila. Thank you.